This is for the ones of you who don't know much about Russia, and for the ones who know very much about the country. This is for the ones of you who want to learn more about Russia, and most importantly, to understand Russia. And to understand Russia has turned out to be fairly straightforward. All you need to learn is its past. From what we're seeing right now, the Russians keep on making the same historical mistakes all over again. And the chances are they will keep on making them. So, let's do it. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. No propaganda, BS or lies here, only truth, common sense and logic, and some emotions too, because I'm a human being after all. Let's do the contest today. The contest. Oh, I love contests. And this is the hate contest. Putin versus Gorby. Why is it important to know, who's hated the most? I think most important question is not who, but why. This is deep stuff, and I'll try to simplify it to make it as simple as possible, as much as I can. But you won't find this in anywhere in your media, in the books. This is I would say this is cutting edge. First, let's start with comparing the two leaders, Gorbachev and Putin. I will give a very brief overview so you understand what's really happening and why, who's hated, by how much, and who. Mikhail Gorbachev, also known as Gorby, became Soviet Union's head in 1985 at the age of 54, and he was at the helm of the USSR for 6 years. Mikhail Gorbachev was one of the top communists in the country. He was born in a village coming from a peasant's family. He made a brilliant career from the very dirt on the bottom of the country to the very, very top. He made himself. He became the president, the Secretary of General. The Secretary General, I think that's how it was called in the USSR. But the idea is the same. He became the guy number one. He won the presidential election inside Politburo. Of course, there wasn't presidential election in the country, but there was a huge power battle after Chernenko died, the previous general secretary. There was a bunch of spiders in a jar, and Gorbachev won. He won. He was the winner. He was firm, strong, charismatic. He was willing to become the president, the general secretary, and he won. Now to Vladimir Putin. He became the president of Russia on the last day of 1999. A lot of you still remember the day. At the age of 47, also coming from the very bottom of the society, just like Gorby, Putin instead chose a different path. He served at KGB, retired in 1990, and served other people after that, primarily Leningrad's mayor Anatoly Sobchak and Russia's then president Boris Yeltsin. Boris Yeltsin, his family, and the oligarchs made Vladimir Putin the president, the successor to Boris Yeltsin, with the goal to protect their safety, freedoms, interests, and riches. Gorby was the public servant all his life, and Putin was the private servant all his life. Gorby was called the shark among his colleagues. He fought his way onto the very top, and he ate others on the way there. Putin was called a mole by his colleagues. He was always hiding in the shadows of his bosses. Gorbachev was the president on whose watch the USSR demise fell apart. The country had been very sick for the very long time before the Gorbachev, and many Russians, especially older folks, believe that Mikhail Gorbachev was the chief architect of their country's destruction. But at the same time, many Russians also believe in the reptiloids, in the government caring about them, in the goodness of Vladimir Putin, and that soon the price of eggs and chicken meat in Russia will go down, and American dollar soon will collapse. Many are uneducated and drink a lot. Their minds are clogged with drunken fog. Instead of applying critical thinking and figuring important things out, instead they believe in the simplest concepts that don't require lots of thinking. And usually such concepts introduced and fueled by their government. So, despite most Russians believe Gorby was the grand architect of Soviet Union's demise and he did it on purpose, he was not. But sure, he has been hated by many Russians. Hated, folks, I mean serious stuff here. Gorby has been hated. Please hear me. The hate was like all-consuming fire in the 90s, and I remember that very well because I lived through it. The memories of regular Russians were still fresh. As time went by, the hate to Gorby toned down a great deal, but it still, at this point, has not completely died. Boy, he sure left his mark on Russia in his short 6-year reign. And now to Vladimir Putin. He was liked. For many years, the Russians liked Vladimir Putin. At least their attitude towards him was favorable. He was very different from the disliked Yeltsin. Russians never hated Yeltsin as they hated Gorbachev, but they disliked him very much. Actually, Vladimir Putin was completely opposite. He was everything Yeltsin was not. Young, sober, energetic, acting like people's president. At least he was acting like that at first few years. That was a striking contrast from always drunk and sick Boris Yeltsin. And people started liking Putin more and more. After 2014, many Russians started loving Vladimir Putin. But that love has not been, very natural. The liking of Vladimir Putin in the first 14 years, it was coming from the hearts. It was natural. But loving Vladimir Putin after 2014 is fake. It has been engineered by the government. Just people are loving Vladimir Putin now, just like they were loving Joseph Stalin back when he was alive and in power. So basically, this is the explanation about a brief history of two presidents, the foundation for the contest, so to speak. And now let's talk about the reasons why. But before I do that, let me ask you a couple things first. Let me take a sip of this wonderful English breakfast tea by an English company called the Twinings. And no, it's not advertising. I like tea that they make. So let me take a couple sips, and please help me to spread this message by making reposts in your social media accounts. And if you're liking it, you can also consider becoming a sponsor of Inside Russia or a patron at Patreon. Buy me a coffee or a tea, at Buy Me a Coffee would be fantastic too. Thank you so much. Now, back to the reasons why Gorby is hated and why Vladimir Putin is loved currently. Gorby became the leader of the country that was doomed. For 70 years, it was suppressing freedoms, destroying regular folks' lives, enslaving them. KGB was the feared organization that broke so many lives of Russian people. Politburo was running the show, and it consisted of old men hungry for power, and all they cared was their power. It was a complete totalitarian state. Obviously, it was a dictatorship, the evil empire, and I think that the name was spot on. In the 80s, the USSR could not sustain itself any longer, and it started falling apart. It was feverish. Oh, folks, I remember that time very well as I lived through it. And Gorby became the leader at that very time. He was sober. He assessed the situation right. He was a strategist. And he well understood where the country was headed. And the most important thing, I think, he wanted to save the USSR. He wanted to save the country. He loved his country and he was a patriot. Gorbachev did many steps to save the USSR. It's a completely different discussion, not for this stream, but you can take my word on that. He was trying to transform the USSR. He introduced capitalism. Well, he completely changed the system, okay? First, he introduced capitalism into the lives of regular people. He allowed regular people to start their own businesses. Thing unheard of before. He allowed the political competition. Thing unheard of before. He allowed freedom of speech, glasnost. Unheard of before, things like that. And once he gave people a little bit of freedom, the whole totalitarian machine started shaking even more. Because, these things, they don't coexist well together. KGB, totalitarianism, lack of freedoms, and then all of a sudden, ability to do business, ability to earn money, ability to say what you think and not being punished for that, ability to play a role in the political scene of the country. These things don't mix well. It's either one or another. And Mikhail Gorbachev started turning the country towards the good part, The best I can explain is that he was trying to turn the USSR into modern-day China. He didn't want the destruction of the country. He still wanted the Communist Party to be in charge, but he wanted to give people certain freedoms, and he was giving them freedoms. And he believed that that will help to run the country straight. And he failed. There were too many odds against him. He was betrayed. The country had gone too far on the way to communism, and things like that. And he failed. He could not transform the USSR into something bigger and better. Did he make mistakes on the way? Oh, heck yes. Just to name a few. Pavlov monetary reform that he started but he didn't finish. Chernobyl catastrophe handling. It's not like he was responsible for Chernobyl blowing up, but the way that Soviet government handled, the way it was hiding the truth during glasnost, that was a mistake. It was not right. Anti-alcoholic campaign, when basically he introduced prohibition into Russia, into the USSR, that was not right. Just a few. And there are more mistakes too. But he was the real leader. He was making decisions. He was taking responsibility. He took steps. He made actions. He made things happen. Just to give you a story. when he became the president, well, the general secretary, one of the first visits he took was to the UK, where he was meeting Margaret Thatcher and the Iron Lady. And they were having a meeting, and all of a sudden, and there was protocol for the meeting, the plan, and all of a sudden, Gorbachev broke the protocol. He broke the plans. He took out a map, a large map, and he just put it on the table. And Margaret Thatcher and other English folks, they were amazed because that was a top secret map of the Russian army. And they were targets for nuclear strikes on the territory of the UK in case a nuclear war would break out. And everyone kind of was quiet. And Gorbachev showed the map. And there was a real map with like stamps, top secret, for your eyes only, and all of that, real deal. And said, look at this. Would you like this to happen? And obviously Margaret Thatcher said no. And said, well, let's talk. Let's discuss things. Let's start negotiating. Let's not make it happen together. And Gorbachev left, and Margaret Thatcher called then President Ronald Reagan, and she said, what are you doing in a few hours? Said, well, I'm busy doing this and that. And she said, well, postpone all the stuff that you're doing because I'm flying over to talk to you about Gorbachev. And this is how that period of the countries getting together and signing the anti-disarmament treaties and things like that's how it started. Let me tell you, only a real ballsy leader can do that, okay? And that Gorbachev was. I personally respect the guy. I admire the guy. I think he's well misunderstood by many Russians, and I think he was the best leader Russia has ever had. But Gorbachev, his role in the Russian society was, he was the surgeon. And surgeons hurt you. And he hurt many Russians. He gave Russians freedom. He gave Russians ability to speak freely, he basically opened Russians' eyes, and they could openly saw how ugly the country they lived in was. And they built that country, okay? And it started hurting them very much. The country was falling apart. It was not Gorbachev's fault, but it was inevitable. And it did fall apart. With him, without him, doesn't matter. It did fall apart. And it's easy to blame someone rather to blame yourself. Russians could not take that truth, that it was not someone else's fault. It wasn't the government's fault. It wasn't America's fault that their country, the USSR, fell apart. They failed to understand that it was built on a wrong foundation. And that foundation let go. They started blaming Gorbachev. They started blaming him for the architecting the destruction of their country. Remember I told you Russians are mostly uneducated and drink a lot. They don't think critically. And that just, was the same back then and the same right now. I'm sorry to say that I had a different opinion, but from what I'm seeing right now, from what I understand right now, this is my opinion now. Anyway. The years that followed of the destruction of the USSR, they were the years of transformation. And the transformation was required. When one system, communism, socialism, totalitarianism, whatever, is replaced by another system, a completely different one, such as capitalism, then a transformation is needed. The change does not happen overnight, at a snap of your finger like that. It doesn't happen painlessly. Life in the country changed. To many, it changed to the worse. People were living very hard economic times. challenges were enormous. And I also remember very well, my parents went through a lot. I remember they were struggling to put food on the table, to earn money to support our life and so forth. Although my parents were very smart, hardworking, educated people, both of them, that they were having it hard. But that was unavoidable. With Gorby, without Gorby, with somebody else, doesn't matter. The systems changed that way. Communism was being replaced with socialism, and the surgeon was required. But guess what? When you have a surgery and the surgeon removes whatever, it hurts a lot. But then you heal, and then you recover, and you become healthy again. And this is exactly what happened. And now we go to Putin. Folks, thank you very much. I hope you are still with me. This is complicated stuff, and I'm trying to make it simple as much as I can. Thank you. Now let's go to Putin. The Russians started healing when Putin became the president. But him becoming the president was not the reason. It was a coincidence. Economic healing. A new foundation was being built for Russia for 10 years in the 90s. And finally, on top of that foundation, a new country started being built. Okay? And the golden years were triggered by two things. And the golden years started in the year of 2000 when Putin became the president. So they were triggered by two things. A huge rise of small businesses and the rise of middle class, something that has not been seen in Russia ever. So middle class was born, and it was becoming bigger and stronger. And, of course, the rising price of oil, natural gas, and all the raw materials that Russia is the richest country of the world for. All those wonderful things followed. Simply, Russia started receiving more money, and more money was spread to people, regular people. And they started getting richer, bit by bit, but then it was seen by 2003. They started having the best time of their lives. They were so tired of the 90s. They were so tired of the 80s, of the 70s, when the lines, bread lines, food lines, everything lines, then the 90s, the challenges. And finally, things started paying off. The new country started working, okay? They were making money, more and more money. And they started buying stuff, traveling inside Russia, all over the world. Their living standards started going up. They could afford more housing, newer houses, newer apartments. They were doing business, making products, offering services, and they were buying cars. For the first time of their lives, they could afford foreign cars, decent ones, and things like that. Russians, for the first time in the history of Russia, were living good life. And they started falsely associating it with Putin. And they started liking Putin for that. And of course, the government with Putin, they were fueling this likeness, saying, oh, that's us. But that wasn't them. He was liked, all right, he was still energetic. He was still considered people's president. He was still going around places, making speeches, meeting people. And Russians thought, they started believing that he was providing them with this good living. For the first time in Russia's history, there was a good czar. Back then, I thought that Russians got rid of this idea of the czar, but I guess they didn't. You see, Gorby was the president when the country was going down. And Putin was the president, started being the president when the country was going up. And they both were falsely associated as made the architects. Only Gorby was the bad architect, and the Putin was the good architect. That they were considered that. Why is that so? Now, this is deep stuff. You won't find it anywhere, folks. Okay, no books, no videos, nowhere. The Russian people always think and believe, have always thought and believed in the recent 100 years of, that they're out of control. They have no control on their lives whatsoever. And it's always the Tsar and the government is in control. And when the Tsar is good, their lives are good. And when the Tsar is bad, and their lives are bad. That's why they were thinking that all this good stuff that they were enjoying, the good life, was Putin's result. The good Tsar finally was descended upon Russia, And then 2014 happened. Well, of course, Putin was not the president all those years. He was. He has been the president, the top guy for the past 23 years. But Dmitry Medvedev was made the president for 4 years, and then Vladimir Putin replaced him back. Dmitry Medvedev was the puppet president, so it's safe to say that Vladimir Putin has been in charge. And then 2014 happened. And that was the time of point of no return, in my eyes. And the state has taken over the life of regular people again. The USSR 2.0 was born. It was born small, but it was growing bigger and bigger. Government started building itself up, taking people's freedoms one by one. They applied stepping stone strategy. They started boiling the frog. Only it wasn't the frog, it was the Russian people. Okay? And bit by bit, the cult of personality was being born. And 2014, the annexation of Crimea happened. Donbass was taken over by the gang. And it's easy to say that the war with Ukraine started in 2014. And the state has taken a completely different approach from the previous years. And it started being the USSR 2.0, advanced, improved, upgraded, and, all those not so wonderful things started happening. And Putin started being loved. Before he was being liked, but he started being loved. He has become the new Joseph Stalin. He has become the symbol of this new country, and the cult of personality has been born. And that has a name, and it's called the Putinism. This cult has been engineered by the Russian propaganda, and Russian people were led to believe in it. Okay, and like I said, they don't think critically, they drink a lot, and so, the church has been helping. The government has been the architect of this new concept, of this new cult. And Vladimir Putin has made the symbol. He is the figure behind everything. And Russian people has been made loving him. He is loved, but that's artificial. Not all Russians love him. There are still some who think critically. I would say that there are about 20% now, but it's hard to say because I know for sure there are a lot of Russians who sincerely love Vladimir Putin, who sincerely think that he made Russia strong again, who sincerely believe that without him, it would be a terrible nightmare. Okay, the 90s would reign forever and so forth. There are people who are sincere in their feelings. There are some who suppress, they're not open about, they don't speak freely, because you can't speak freely in today's Russia anymore. You'll be ratted on, and you charged, go to prison, fined, whatever. You're going to be marked as unreliable citizen by and you'd be reported by the concerned citizens that are born in Russia back again. So I don't know how many people suppress speaking openly and freely. I assume that there's a number of people, and there are about 20% of Russians who are openly against Putin. Those 20% are feared by the state. The state wants to eradicate them. One of the top Russia's senators has been making weird statements saying that the 20% to 29.5 million Russians should be isolated and eradicated or killed. Now he's started taking steps. He's introduced the law that brings the death penalty, capital punishment, back to Russia. So the Russian government is working on getting rid of these people. So not all love him, but most. But boy, has Vladimir Putin destroyed the country or what? The Russians, a lot of Russians, and I think those many who sincerely love him today, they have not realized yet what a disaster he created. He basically nullified all the achievements that Russian people made when they were changing the USSR into Russia. He nullified, he destroyed the middle class. He destroyed the ability of Russians to do business freely and honestly. He's destroyed Russian independent court system. That was never a reality, but at least in the 90s, it was much more honest than today, okay? And that system was being born, was being matured, but not anymore. It doesn't exist. He built the vertical of power, and that this vertical of power, this organization of the government, it controls the country 100%. That's what he has done. And I am absolutely sure that the Russian people will wake up one day. They will sober up. They will educate themselves enough to understand what a disaster he has created for the country. He has destroyed everything, not just presently. See, the USSR, its problem was that it was presently destroyed at the time, economically, okay? But it was nullified. But it had a great potential. It had future. It had international help. It had international acceptance. Other countries accepted changed the USSR into their family and said, listen, be one of us, grow with us, develop, live, let's have a good time. Not so in Russia. Putin, not only he has absolutely destroyed Russia, he has destroyed the future, because the new Russia is going to be hated, not loved at least, for decades and generations, not going to be accepted. It's going to be isolated, and sooner or later, Russian people are going to realize that. So, what is the result of this contest? Hate contest. Who is hated the most? In my humble opinion, Mikhail Gorbachev is a child, an amateur when it comes to the hate of the Russians. Vladimir Putin is the winner, hands down, both hands down. And we will see his win very soon. And it'll be extremely public. He will be publicly blamed, crucified, He will be cursed. He will be hated. His name in Russia for a long time will become a symbol of a very dark and the evil. And that's going to be well deserved. There will be scholars all over the world studying his dark legacy leading to the demise of Russia. The system he has created, all his friends that he has given the power of Russia's riches, make them the richest men in the world. Oh yeah, that's going to be studied, my friends. But that is a thing of the future. He needs to step down for that. Just like Joseph Stalin did, There are many parallels here. As soon as he's out of the Kremlin, out of the office, the hate will materialize. I don't think it's going to take a long time, though. Perhaps it will even be fueled by his replacement, by his successor. We'll see. The light will replace darkness, and the truth of Putin's deeds will come on top. I cannot call them crimes because only court can decide whether they're crimes or not, but I think you get the idea. Again, Putin wins contest hands down, but his victory is delayed. Right now, he's not hated by most, he's loved. He's loved, just like Joseph Stalin was loved. The amount of hate toward him will be enormous, as he is Vlad, the destroyer of Russia, the worst leader Russia has ever seen, the worst czar the country has ever had. He'll be hated even more than Joseph Stalin was. But so the discontent is won by Vladimir Putin. It's just, his win is again delayed in the future a little bit. But before I sign off, I'd like to give you some food for thought, especially for the scholars studying Russian history. Because if you study Russian history, you can predict what's going to happen with Russia in the future. Joseph Stalin, the murderer, he was hated by the Russians for 50 years. Oh, I remember that. In the mid-80s, in the early 80s, in the 90s, yes. No one had any doubts who Stalin was. And the history, the archives were opened up and the truth came on top. Oh boy. Then, Russians, after 50 years, they started loving him again. First bit by bit, and then much. Now, the monuments to Joseph Stalin, the murderer, are being erected all over Russia again. In even Russian Orthodox Church, the very same church he completely erased in the 20s of the last century. He murdered 120,000 God-loving popes, good people. He completely destroyed the church and replaced it with KGB in the 40s and the 50s. The very same church is sanctifying him. The real question here is not who is hated the most, Putin or Gorbachev. The real question, Putin has already won it by a huge margin. I think everyone who thinks straight understands that. But the real question is, will Putin be loved by the Russians again 50 years from now? Folks, think about that. And this is it for today's message. Thank you so much. It's my honor to have you, and I'd like to invite everyone to the live stream chat right now. And while I'm turning that chat on, I'm asking you again to like this message and to make reposts in your social media accounts, because that helps. And again, if you would like to buy me this English breakfast, I wouldn't mind, and I would very appreciate it. Thank you so very much. And now, folks, tell me, did you like this message or not? Because again, this is, I think, one of my best analysis, and this is cutting-edge stuff. I have not heard anyone talking about that. It's actually pretty proud of for this message, I'm becoming a, political analyst. It was never my intention. By the way, we have a different opinion. My wife, Natasha, thinks that this message is not going to be very, very popular among viewers because it's too complicated. The concept's too complicated to understand. And I think that it's going to be a success. So we'll see what happens. The live stream chat is on. I just turned it on. Thank you so much, friends. Fantastic to see everyone. We had all the streams on schedule. That was a stream for patrons and sponsors. So if you're a patron and sponsor, you get to participate in a private live streams every Saturday. Let me just drink a little bit of this wonderful tea. Again, this is not advertising. It's just I love English tea. The English, you are absolutely fantastic. I don't know how you can make this tea, but you go anywhere in the world, and even to the countries where they actually grow tea, and the tea is not as good as yours. And of course, in the United States and in Canada, you can buy the English tea from England. Just like I'm buying it here in Uzbekistan. By the way, if you're here for the first time, I would like to remind you that there are two kind of people here, and both are the best people in the world. First is the moderation team, Lorna, Mammy K, Bob S, Harry Potter, and Ian Amir. Good friends and fantastic mods, the best people really. And everyone else who comes here regularly, the best people as well. Dirk Misler, Paul W, Airborne Snail, Leitmotiv, Master Q, Benjamin Carano, and the rest of you, you're the best people. I just want you to know that. Thank you for coming. Fantastic to see everyone. As usual, please put your messages in all caps and put it inside Russia after @ sign. So I see it highlighted by a large orange box, and it's much easier for me to notice. Thank you. Let's jump straight into the questions. The usual suspects, thank you for coming. Leitmotiv for me, thank you for highlighting your message. Greetings from Bowie, Maryland. Howdy, howdy. And from now on, I'll be reading the messages in caps and highlighted in orange. Harry Potter, howdy, friend. Sending my love to Finland. And Gunnar, howdy. Baker Stock, hello, hello. Leitmotiv, Sweden. Pamela J, Bob S. Howdy, friends. Samsa Solman from Spain. Did like your message. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm proud for this stuff because I dug deep, really deep, and I didn't hear anyone doing any kind of analysis like this. So forgive me, please, for not being honest, but I think this is good stuff. Allison Marl from Florida, Koshkin Dom, привет, привет. Mods, please forgive my Russian. Don't ban me, please. Because no Russian is allowed here. Sam K, howdy. You are a legend. Doug Hill from Los Angeles. So what a fantastic place. Definitely in my heart. Don Con says realistic analysis. Thank you so much. Jules Rames, fantastic to see you, and thank you for giving sponsorship to 5 people. Good, fantastic, thank you. Andreas Bernds, Roy Cousins from London. Hey, thanks for the tea. It didn't come from you, but came from your country, from London. To be exact. Pinda, good lesson in learning about Russia. Thank you so much. Fantastic to see you. We had a good time yesterday during the stream. Oh boy, I laughed. My stomach still hurts. Still hurting. Zilia 33440, howdy. PR Zemek. You must be from Poland. Howdy, friend. Nielsen from Latvia. Thank you so much. Every time there's Eastern European, a Latvian, Lithuanian, Estonian, Polish person, the Czech, Slovakian, Bulgarian warms my heart. Knowing the really hard history of that my country had with yours. And you coming and giving me a chance. Thank you so much. Please forgive us what we did in the past. Daniel McInnes, all the way from Canada. Thank you, Daniel. Fantastic to see you, and thanks for the support. White Lightning, sponsor for 14 months. Definitely get the sense that Gorbachev sincerely wanted Russia to be a normal country, which Reagan and Thatcher also wanted. Putin, not so much. You know what? I just thought of it. Okay, my analysis are a living thing, so just came to my mind. Very important. I think I should have ended the stream with this. Gorbachev did not profit personally from his reign as the leader. He left his job as the president of the USSR relatively well. I can't say he was poor, but he was not a multimillionaire or he was not a billionaire. Far from it. He did not make any of the relatives top people in the government. He did not give any positions to his friends, family who could benefit a lot. He made his first $1 million by starring in Pizza Hut commercial. You'll remember that. It's pretty good. Then he won Nobel Prize, Peace Prize. He got $1 million for that. And he had the Gorbachev Foundation, which is, I think, is perfectly legal and normal. Okay. Now look at Putin, the richest man in the world. All his friends are multi-billionaires many times over. Open the Forbes list of 500 richest men in the world. About 100 Putin friends there. Okay, or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but many. At least they were before the war. That's all you need to know for Gorbachev and for Putin. And Russian people hating Gorbachev so much, that just blows my mind. People, are you crazy? Are you drunk? Are you sober? So White Lightning, thank you so much. Hang on, let me just get to the comments. Tina, thank you so much. I loved Gorby because I'm German, but I fear your president is a deep and lovely dream. Russians seem to win this war and will not learn from it. But I fear your presentation. What's this, a presentation? I don't get this idea. Anyway, I'll try to answer this. First of all, thanks for the support. Thanks for the question. The good one. So you fear that Russians to win this war and not learn from it. I don't believe it. You cannot sustain the economy. You cannot sustain the life that Russians have been having by continuing what they have been doing. It's not sustainable. It's falling apart economically. You're not seeing it because you're fed by pictures from your media. I am seeing it, okay? Because I'm looking deep inside Russia. But time will tell very soon. Wait until March 2024 comes and get your popcorn, sit in a comfortable chair and watch the Russia go into hell. But let's pretend that even Russia wins this war and somehow makes peace with Ukraine, keeps the stolen lands, whatever, Still, the economy, the system that Russian president has built over these years is not sustainable. It will collapse sooner or later because it's not... what's this right word? It's not... harmonical. There's no harmony in it. The USSR was at some point much stronger than Russia. It collapsed. What makes you think Russia will not collapse in the future? I'm not so sure. I'm pretty sure that it will collapse. So, if I understood your message right, this is my thinking. Hey, look, I can be wrong, okay? I'm wrong sometimes on some things, but I'm also right on some things. And by the way, the stream is coming this year on the things that I've been wrong about. So I think that time will tell very soon. Presidential elections, March 2024. And of course, I'll be streaming, so you can come back and we can talk more about it. And again, thank you so very much. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Germany. I think you have fantastic country. My wife is half German. My son is, I don't know, 1/8, 1/4, whatever. It's partially German. We have tons of relatives in Germany. As it turns out, I have new relatives, so... and I admire Germans for what you have done after World War II, how you have turned from being not so wonderful state to a very wonderful state. So I think you are a beacon of light to many people, and certainly to Russia. And I think that Russia somehow needs to learn from your mistakes and somehow needs to follow your footsteps. Will it? I don't know, but I think it needs to. Thank you. So I saw a super chat and a question from Crusader Damien. Thank you so much. Excellent analysis. Gorbachev would have been the light at the end of the tunnel. He just ran out of time. Putin came in and took all the credit. Thank you. Putin came in 10 years later. Basically, Yeltsin took all the dirt, all the slime, okay? Yeltsin, he could have done so much better with the country, with his job. He was, I don't know what the guy was thinking. He was drinking for 10 years, non-stop, okay? But at his reign, Russia was being transformed, and not by the government. Government actually did. So actually, you know what? There's another thing. Yeltsin might have done a good thing by completely isolating the government from the life of Russians. That was pure freedom, pure capitalism. Russians could do anything they wanted to. And in 10 years, they transformed the country. Folks, a lot of people forget about that, but that's not the government. It's the people. There was no government in the 90s. The people of Russia transformed Russia, and they laid the foundation for the new country. And the new country started being built 2000 and on. And for the next, 10 years, it was a good country. But then the government saw that the foundation was good and said, this is mine. I need to own this again. It's too much money here. And then Vladimir Putin started making the state stronger. And then we're saying what we're saying. So, thank you, Crusader Damien. The best questions as usual. Thank you for coming. Thanks for being Inside Russia, part of Inside Russia community. Thank you. Henrik, thank you so much. I'm not seeing your message here. Justeri, you're all special. Thank you so much. You're also special. Thank you. Daniel McInnes, you haven't been using your dead tea mug. Someone took it. I cannot find it. I think it's in Dasha's room and she's not giving it back to me. So when it's still here, I'll make sure I'll use it again tomorrow and on. Leitmotif, in fact, I've been a patron since July 1st, 2022. Thank you, that's... thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I have a present for everyone. Well, not for everyone, for one special person today. Friends, hang on one second, let me do something here. Let me answer the questions here, and I think there's one unanswered, and I would like to make something special. Sam K, for decaf T, LOL. Good to see you are well. Well, Sam K, first of all, it's you who is legend. And thank you. It's not decaf. It's full of caffeine. Because we simply don't have decaf tea here. Uzbek, they simply don't understand this concept of decaf. Harry, I know. Let me just. George Schuberty from New England. Howdy, friend. Thank you, Henrik. Thank you for your. It's a nice face with tears or something. Drool. Oh. Well. Hang on. I would like to bring attention to this very special person. Dirk Miesler is not a moderator, but I think he's as close to moderator as it gets to being non-moderator, and if you know what I mean. Dirk has been, I think, since day one of the channel, and he's been like literally every time. He didn't miss any streams. I remember when I was making walking streams, he was there in Moscow and Rostov. When I made spontaneous streams, I would take Michael out to play in the snow, and Dirk was there. I remember when I moved to Uzbekistan, Dirk was there, has been here. And I remember when I was having a hard time in Russia, and he was in every stream. So yesterday was Dirk's birthday, and he's a fan of one thing, and I'd like to put it on the screen right now. That I have prepared something. I'm having a little technical jerk. Hang on there. I made a few. Folks, let's just a little pause here. I'm struggling technically. Hang on. This is it. I think I got it. So Dirk's birthday was yesterday, and Dirk, I know what you like about Uzbekistan, about Russia. And this is it for you. It's driving me nuts. I'm sorry. I'm always having troubles. I have this picture. I cannot. Somehow it doesn't want me to share on the screen. Oh. Okay, this is it. I think I got it. This is it, folks. Dirk, this is for you. Dirk loves white painted trees, and I found a picture of someone actually painting the tree. Dirk, I would like to sing a song to you. I tried to sing, to practice it in German, but no. I've given up on this idea. I'm sorry. So I'll sing it in English. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dirk. Happy birthday to you. Have fantastic birthday, fantastic celebration. Have fantastic time. Be surrounded with people who you love, who love you, and have many reasons for smiles on your face, and please be well. Don't get sick ever, and have lots of Deutschmarks. Well, not Deutschmarks, euros in your pockets, always on your bank accounts. Dirk, happy birthday, and thank you for being such a great part of Inside Russia. You are really one of the big bricks in the foundation. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you you like the picture. J Spike, thank you so much. I have finals this week. I have sinus infection. Hope everyone has a good Christmas. See if you are not. We'll pray for you today, friend. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks for being a part of Inside Russia too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jekyll N, usual message, no message, but message is huge from Australia. Thank you so much. Good to see you, and thank you for your support. Isn't this Konstantin Head? Yeah. So, you've seen it, right? I hope you've seen it. Yeah. Yes. So we temporarily changed the scene of this live stream to white painted tree. Dirk, exclusively for you. Frank in Texas, not only you've been subscriber to Letters to King, you also took this, the craziest thing I did. You know, I was where I was explaining on Sunday how Russia would never attack Ukraine, and a few days later they attacked. Frank, we know that. Thank you for. You're also a huge brick in the foundation of Inside Russia. Same as Susan M, Karen from Maine, the mods, of course, you know, and Dave Strains and lots of other people. Paula W, Jeffrey S, and Jess Terry, Faith Russert, Sam, and I mean, I wish I could name you all. All right. It's me again. Classic painted tree. This is a white painted tree stream. Okay. Palm tree Kate. Actually, they paint white trees white, the trunks, for about 3 to 4 feet from the ground. That's how they protect trees from bugs, certain bugs. In Russia, in the former USSR, they paint them white everywhere. Even here in Uzbekistan. Michael, happy holidays. I would like to say Merry Christmas to everyone and Happy Holidays. This is a strange tradition when everyone starts saying Merry Christmas like 10 days before Christmas. It's not 10 days, 6 days. But anyway, in Russia we say like Happy New Year on the day of New Year, or Merry Christmas on the day of Christmas. But I like it. Happy New Year, everyone. We have not heard about the trees in a while. I heard about the trees. This is the funniest. Highwayman, howdy. I think Kostya's singing is getting better. No, I don't think so. I see Dirk. Thank you so much. Thank you for happy birthday again, and thank you for being with us. Mr. Fixit, today message should be viewed by all Western countries' State Departments. In my opinion, the best and most lucid I have seen since joining you followers. Excellent work, keep it up. Thank you so much, Mr. Fixit. I also think that this message is important. Again, I came up with this idea, okay, and then my streams are born. It's a really strange process, but somehow this idea like bursts inside of me, and I think, wow, this is worth sharing, okay. And I start doing research. I start like building blogs around it, and this idea becomes a message. And I do some analysis, usually if it's like a political idea, political analysis, if it's been done before, who did this, what they think, and so forth. So I looked for this stuff, for the comparison. I didn't find anything. So I think I'm the first one, at least I know of. And I think it's very important. You see, to understand Russia's present and Russia's future, you got to understand its past, because all the problems that we Russians have, they come from the past. We didn't really do a good job of changing the country in the 90s, early 90s. You know, no one was lustrated, and the people should have been. The KGB and the same people who were really running the USSR, they were let to continue doing their political careers and so forth. We still have some members of old Politburo in the upper parliament chamber, believe it or not. There's still some. This is the craziest thing. So the Politburo was ruling us back then, and now they're ruling it now. Okay, so go figure. So I think this again, this message, I my personal opinion, that's very important, and people should watch it. We'll see how many people will watch. Natasha thinks not too many. This is not mainstream idea. It's very unique, it's complicated, it's sophisticated. We'll see. Lorraine Prasnowski. Actually, Lorraine, you are and Susan M are the longest sponsors of Inside Russia, 24 months. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for, monetary support, and thanks for just being with us and coming back and watching and being in the chats. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Lorraine, you and Susan M, I haven't seen Susan for ages, okay, but you come back regularly, and thank you, Susan, for being the top two ladies of sponsoring Inside Russia. Thank you. Thanks for this message too. I'm glad you like it. Artistic Wolf, howdy. Thanks for all the calming and informational streams over the years and recent months. Here's $5 to buy someone some food at your breakfast club. Thank you so much. Cheers. It'll be done. I still buy food to some people. The new ones, the newcomers, and the ones who keep on coming, they usually pay for themselves, but I pay for the new ones. The newly joined ones. Let's put it this way. KG1, thank you. Will the Russian people stop Putin fantasy of the new USSR being accomplished or any more wars? I don't think that Russia can afford any more wars. I think we shouldn't be worried about Russia attacking anyone, at least for the time being. And I think that what you're seeing right now is a very sugar-coated picture. They're not telling you the truth. And somehow the Western media is also full in this picture. Russian government says, oh, Russian economy is doing great. And then Bloomberg, the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, it's like, oh, Russian economy is doing great. The source, the Russian government, Rosstat. Yeah, right. So it's been sugar-coated. You're not seeing what's really happening inside Russia. But you will see soon, very soon. Because guess what happened 2 days ago? Yesterday, day before yesterday, there was a huge crowd attacked Russian police officers, beat them up, and one of the huge bazaars, turns out Russian rules of the Russian Federation do not apply there. This huge, with tens of thousands of foreign migrant workers, they have their own rules, they have their own laws, and Russian police came in and then they tried to arrest one guy, and they were attacked by like hundreds of people, nearly killed, and there's a huge commotion about it right now in Russia. And that's also one of the signs that the country is feverish, okay? And many other signs. So anything is possible. I don't think that Russia will exist in this mode for a long time. Okay, so that's what I think. I think that the changes are upon Russia. Changes not good, not pleasant, but changes are in the future. They're coming up. William G., atheist number 1. Howdy, friend. Atheists are welcome here, and the believers are welcome. Everyone's welcome. So thank you. Sending my love to you, to Canada. Another point, while no doubt Thatcher and Reagan were integral, I believe the big changes in Russia under Gorby took place after he and Eduard Shevardnadze went for a walk on a farm in Ontario, Canada. Now I want to tell everyone a story about that, because I don't think very many people know. I learned it from, I don't remember who, but a fellow Canadian sent me email about this story, and I was absolutely amazed. I told my mom about it. She had no clue. I told other Russians, no clue. I am a scholar of Russian history, and if I didn't know about that, I doubt very many people know. So there was a trip. Gorby, before he was the president, the general secretary general. I think he was the minister of agriculture, and then he well understood the poor state of. Let me just fact check that. I'm pretty sure that he was the Minister of Agriculture. Just give me a second. While I'm doing that, you can like and subscribe, and very importantly, spread the message by making repost in your social media account. Please do that, folks. That helps a lot. Just 1 second. That's not going to take long. Chazov, секретарь. Heck is that? It's the pair. He graduated from Stavropol State University. No, not state. Stavropol State agricultural university with a diploma in law. So he was an attorney. Can't freaking find out where. I'm almost positive he was. Yes. Anyway, doesn't matter, folks. This is the story. So Gorbachev was sent to Canada on a trip. On a trip to, well, no one really knew Gorbachev in Canada. And then they, but I think, couldn't find it, but I think he was in charge of agriculture of the USSR. And the Canadian government decided to ask one of the state people to actually accompany Gorbachev to meet him and so forth. He was not accompanied by Shevardnadze, no. William, I think you're making a mistake. Yakovlev, the ambassador of USSR into Canada, he was accompanied by Yakovlev. And when Gorbachev came, he met with a Canadian counterpart. I forgot his name. He's a famous guy in Canada. And they were driving, somewhere, and Gorbachev asked for the car to be stopped. So they stopped the car, and they were driving through a bunch of residential houses. And Gorbachev got out of the car with the Canadian guy, and he knocked on the door of a house. And, obviously someone opened the door, and he introduced himself. He said he was a public official from the Soviet Union, and he wanted to speak to people, regular family, to see how they lived. And they invited everyone to the house, and Gorbachev looked at how a regular Canadian family lived. And he was absolutely shocked and amazed. It was his choice. It was a random stop. So in the USSR, it would have been set up, okay? There would be KGB acting as family, and there would be a specially made-up apartment for everyone to see. But in Canada, it was different. It was a real family. The Gorbachev was asking how much the guy was making at work, and he told Gorbachev, and he didn't believe him. So the guy showed him a pay stub, and Gorbachev was amazed. Then they went to see a farm with that Canadian guy. And it is believed when he talked to Yakovlev, they both were liberal. Liberal, they wanted change for the USSR. And this is where the idea of the changing country to the better was born in Canada. Okay, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I believe it. Okay, this is a rumor, but I believe it, and it makes perfect sense. The fact that he did stop by the house is well documented. It's a fact. He did go to the farm. What is the rumor is whether it was this. They decided to change the country then. I don't know, but I believe it. So thank you so much, William. Fantastic story, and thanks for bringing it up again. I can't believe I'm almost positive Gorby was in charge of agriculture of the USSR before becoming the General Secretary General. Nasetka, that was a super chat from Nasetka. Thank you so much. $5. Inside Russia, respectfully disagree with Natasha. I did not find your explanation complicated at all. Blessings to you. Well, there's a little trick. I tried to make it as simple as possible to prove Natasha wrong. Just don't tell her. But the idea is complicated, and basically, she didn't think it would reach wide audience because most people don't care who's hated most, and we'll see. So thank you so much for your contribution, for your help, support, and thanks for the agreeing with me. Well, we'll see if the boss is right or not. The boss is Natasha, of course. So we have another birthday, right? Angela McNo, happy birthday to your daughter as well. Bantam Smoker. I would like to sing the song. This is a lucky day. We have two birthday songs. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bantam Smoker. Happy birthday to you. Thank you so much for being a part of Inside Russia. Fantastic holiday you have, please. Have many happy returns of the day. I wish everyone good health. Lots of reasons to smile, no reasons to cry. Lots of people who you love and who love you around you, and lots of money. I think that's a secret to life's balance. Let's put it this way. Lots of love, lots of health, lots of work, lots of reward. Starshine Range, thank you, and I think we are well over schedule. Nasetka again, thank you so much. Thank you. Friends, I'm not seeing the Nightbot. I think Nightbot got tired. Oh yeah, here you go. Nightbot says. Time check. Sorry, folks. Got carried away a little bit. It's Sunday. Please forgive me for that. Let's pray. Thank you so much for giving me a chance again. Fantastic to see you. It's my pleasure of seeing you in my live streams and talking to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Friends, let's finish the stream with a prayer as usual. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so very much for giving us this day, this week. Thank you for putting food on our tables and giving roofs over our heads. Thanks for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us. Please give us good week that is ahead of us. Everyone stay healthy, have work, and be rewarded for hard work. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads peaceful and safe, and raise them in a way that when they grow up, they become good people and make this world a better place. Dear Lord, for now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Please help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Dear God, we need your help. Pretty bad. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are responsible and capable to make this decision. Fill them with love, mercy, empathy, forgiveness. Make their hearts softer so they make this decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help every single Ukrainian who has been affected by this terrible tragedy. Answer the prayers and make their wishes come true. Dear Lord, please help my country assemble your army of the strongest angels with sharpest swords and weapons and knives and everything else, led by Saint Michael, and send this army to earth like heavenly avalanche to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country. We know them by face and by name. Please help your angels run Russia and help good Russians to run the country to make it peaceful, loving, loved, respecting, and respected again. Thank you. Dear Lord, please help those who are helping the Ukrainians. People, foundations, families, everyone. God bless them. Help those who are traveling, send them safe travels. Help those who are facing threats right now, help them. Help those who are seeking for asylum of any kind, running away from evil, please provide help. Please help single mothers who are struggling raising their kids, trying to make ends meet. And help everyone who is sick, hungry, addicted, hurting, betrayed, homeless, jobless, cold, depressed, not feeling well. Please surround people in need with your warmth and fill their lives with love. So they feel your love, they feel warmth, they feel that you're with them, they feel your support, they feel the divine, reaching out and touching them. And so they will feel better about their lives as the result. Help everyone in need so these people recover, get back, stand up, and have a good, happy life. Thank you so much for allowing us to create this community to come back and pray every single day. Thank you for everyone who's praying along with me or simply watching us pray. There are almost 1,800 people. It's a small stadium. Thank you very much for that. Dear Lord, please help everyone who is praying along or simply watching us pray. Please answer their prayers and make everyone's wish come true. Please help. We have some people who need your help, and I would like to ask for them. They are a little girl, Sarah, fighting for her life. She needs your help. Send your angels, watch over her, have her recover, and send back to her family who is praying day and night for her. Please send a recovery and send the family strength it needs. Please help Stephen's grandpa, Warren's Peace, with addictions and PTSD, Jay Spike with recovery, Dirk Misler, send happy and fast and speedy recovery, Olga and her son Alexei, Paul Wright and his community, Jason Carney, please send speedy recovery, Blackhead, Sandra Dunn, Dive Crew Canada, please watch over him when he dives and is deep on the ocean's bottom. Jill, please help Alexei Navalny. Send your angels to protect over him, and please have him come back to us alive and well. Please help Susie Mailer, give her strength, and please help her husband Meek. Please have his soul rest in peace, and take him in the afterlife by your side, please, and be with him. Know that we are with Susie, all of us, and we're praying and grieving with her. Jason Corner, Janice Stevenson, Leslie Fleming's daughter, Buzz Salmon, Sam from Kiev, Anna from Poland, Scan family's members, Wayne, who is fighting 2 cancers. Please send angels to watch him over, to help him. Send angels to Wayne's family who is with Wayne. Give them strength and send recovery to Wayne, please. Dave, Dawn, Summers, 613's mother, Mike O'Neill, Ann Larson's daughter Hannah, Dory, please help her and her uncle Jimmy, Terry Carter former in-laws, Morgan L., Rhonda McGillis, Sky Lee's wife, Joseph Johnson, Heige Homestead, CB, Electron's family, Kurt, Deborah, Bogey Berger, and 2 sons, Anonymous, please send recovery. Julia Haney. White Lightning. George Ruberty. Darla. Liz Dumbrell. Natasha. Yelena. Sky. Jake. Michael. Oля. Dasha. Bonnie and Svetlana. Randolph. Grace Philosophy. Mr. Dean Spooner. Liz. Karen. And Lori Miles' husband. David Porter, his family, and everyone who's in Chernovtsi. Terry Carter's fiancée, Joel Nee McMahon. Meta Spencer. Pamela J. Life. Highwayman. And Finola. Dear Lord, thank you so very much. Amen. Friends, thank you for coming. Thanks for giving me a chance. I hope you like the message, and I hope many people watch it and it gets spread. I find it important. Fantastic to have you here. You are absolutely awesome, and you rock. And I sign off. There's another message coming up tomorrow. I'll also try my best to make it interesting and informational. So please come back tomorrow as usual. And before I sign off, I'd like to ask everyone to say along with me as loud as you can. Carthago delenda est.